In this chapter, we're going to explore a document management solution from start to finish using SharePoint. We'll choose a real-life scenario and get an overview of the entire process in this lesson, and then we'll discuss the business drivers for document management, design the solution in our SharePoint environment, and finally, we'll explore the benefits of our new solution and discuss some useful tips for creating your own document management solutions. All right, in this lesson, we'll examine the creation process, the document creation resources you might need. We'll discuss document consumption and the challenges you can expect in a document management solution. So let's begin with an overview. As you know by now, SharePoint can be used to manage documents from the beginning of their life cycle to the end, and you can use SharePoint to manage how documents are created and then even approved if necessary. With SharePoint, you can manage how published documents are made available to others, and then how they're handled when they're no longer pertinent. Most document management scenarios will involve multiple people working together on the creation of one or more documents to eventually be made available to others and then removed or refreshed over time. So here's one scenario, an HR policy and procedures site where you'll have multiple contributors to multiple documents, and those documents will be published in various forms or formats for employee consumption. Another scenario might be for RFP documents where you'll again have multiple contributors to various sections of an RFP, a request for proposal. And then you'll want to track versions of that document. You'll want to distribute the document when it's done to customers and partners and vendors. And then you'll want to archive that to be reused later on. Here's another scenario, quarterly reports. These are reports that are going to be distributed to shareholders. So you may have multiple people contributing to a quarterly report for their various areas. And then at the shareholder meeting or online, you'll be distributing that information to the shareholders. What we're going to do in this chapter is focus our scenario on the HR department at a fictitious company that will use SharePoint to both communicate with the rest of the company and make available several documents that will be used by employees over time. These materials or documents will require input from various other departments, and this is going to require tasks to be assigned to individuals in those areas. Some of these materials will need to be approved before they can be published, and many will need constant updating. So let's examine the document creation in our scenario. All right. Depending on the scenario, the approach to materials creation can vary, and in our scenario, we're going to assume the following. One person is responsible for organizing the documents. Many people are going to contribute to their content. Also, tasks will be assigned to those contributors when it's time for them to add to the documents or materials. Some documents are going to require a workflow. Some of the documents will require an approval process as well. And some materials will be created and shared by the individual responsible. All right, let's talk about the resources now in document creation. Because when you're creating documents in a SharePoint environment, you're typically going to see many different resources used, such as existing information. It's already out there. You're going to repurpose documents like Word docs and hard copies that exist, information in emails, and even data from other applications you might be using in the organization. You're going to have some tools available to you, hopefully, applications for creating the documents, systems to facilitate and manage the process as well. There might be a team involved, those creating the documents with the available tools and information. And then there's going to be some kind of management. You'll need objectives, approvers, deadlines, and statuses. And then you're going to need to monitor that process as it's going. We're going to be using all of these resources in our HR department scenario. Next, we'll talk about consumption, because once documents get created, they're going to need to be made available to those who can leverage them, and there are several methods for making documents available for consumption, like browsing, items placed in a location with related materials where you'll have easy access to them. Another way to consume information is to search for it. Materials that are created are going to be tagged with appropriate metadata and categorized properly to make them easy to find using search utility. And then you can use alerts and target. So materials can be configured to automatically notify the right individuals when content is added or modified. So let's now talk about some of the challenges, because one should probably not tackle the venture of providing a document management solution without first understanding the challenges or negative factors that can impact the potential success. Think about scattered resources, for example, where information is in multiple locations in multiple formats. This results in duplication of efforts often, and you waste a lot of time trying to find the right information in the right format. You can get multiple versions as well. Updated documents shared via email results in many versions being out there. And you may not be using the most recent and therefore most accurate version. How about collaborating individuals in various locations? So it's difficult to track progress when email is used to share content, for example. And communications between team members is difficult to manage when you have individuals scattered across various locations. Time is an issue. Typically, polling individuals is done manually on a regular basis to get status, and it's usually through meetings, which take time away from productivity, slowing down the project. And then there's inefficient sharing of information. Versioning issues when individuals share information via email or verbally exist. Various versions of the same document, and there's no tracking. All right, we're going to talk now about the drivers for document management, and that's coming up in the next lesson.